In other cases also, oh, only 10 or 20 people are affected. Thousands have accepted. Take, my lord, some resolution or some decision of a government. Your lordships have always, my lord, struck down the argument. If one man is affected, he has a right to say that he is affected. If his grievance is valid, then the court will act on it. And that this 100, 200 business was one of the foundations, my lord, in Kaushal. Your lordship may note that. That judgment, my lord, which overruled Nas of this court, which was overruled in Avtej and Puttaswamy, that judgment said, oh, you are a small minority, you are piffling minority, and 200 prosecutions, what's a big deal? In a country of 100 crore, this is minuscule. So, my lord, something like de minimis. Your lordships have a principle of de minimis. If it is so, my lord, inconsequential, the court may not act.
Yeah.
That judgment was founded, my lord, on de minimis. The point is, if one man's fundamental right, my lord, is affected, he has a right to come. And that judgment, therefore, was completely wrong in applying a principle of de minimis on the violation of a fundamental right. My lord, in Shafin Jahan, there is a passage, Lordship Justice Chandrachud, reminding the High Court that you cannot, my lord, go with just, my lord, this majority. Necessarily, my lord, I'll show that. No, all right. Let me read Ambedkar. Mr. Kirpal wants me to read. My lord, always good to read. My lord, para 600 at the bottom of that page.
Yes.
600. Man who faced discrimination himself.
Yes, of course. My lord, the lordships are aware in London, wherever, my lord, famous people have lived, their names are, my lord, in a blue plaque on a building that here lived, say, X or Y. And one of those houses is where Dr. Ambedkar lived. With that blue plaque, they give the period where so and so lived, whether it's a Churchill or whoever it was. That's what Ambedkar. An ideal society should be mobile, should be full of channels for conveying a change taking place in one part to the other parts. In an ideal society, there should be many interests consciously communicated and shared. There should be varied and free points of contact with other modes of association. In other words, there must be social endomosis. What does that mean? Endo-osmosis. This is the fraternity, which is also another name for democracy. In his address, last address to the Constitutional Assembly, he defined the fraternity as a sense of common brotherhood of all Indians. As in the social and economic plane, Indian society was based on graded inequality. Dr. Ambedkar had warned in clear terms, without fraternity, liberty, and equality cannot become equality cannot, and therefore is this that way, cannot become a natural course of things. It would require a constable to enforce them. Without fraternity, equality, and liberty, there'll be no deeper than coats of paint. Constitutional morality requires that all citizens need to have a closer look at and understand and imbibe the broad values of the Constitution, which are based on liberty, equality, freedom. Constitutional morality is thus the guiding spirit to achieve transformation, which above all the Constitution seeks to achieve. The acknowledgement carries the necessary implication. The process through which a society matures and imbibes constitutional morality is gradual, perhaps interminably so. Hence, constitutional courts are entrusted with the duty to act as external facilitators. Very important phrase, my lord, to act as an external facilitators and to be a vigilant safeguard against excesses of state power and democratic concentration of power. This court, being the highest constitutional court, has the responsibility to monitor the preservation of constitutional morality as an instrument of fostering conditions for human dignity and liberty to flourish. Popular public morality cannot affect the decisions of this court. I would like to add also, my lord, cannot defer the decisions of this court for the legislative process. Then we'll add 604 on the next page. Invocation of constitutional morality must be seen as an extension of Dr. Ambedkar's formulation of social reform and constitutional transformation, highlighting the significance of individual rights and social terms. He observed The assertion by the individual of his own opinion and beliefs, his own independent interest is over and against group standards, group authorities, and group interests in the beginning of all reform. So, my lord, reform is also a continuous process. Society has gone through a large number of reforms, from widows, from child marriages, from this, that, and the other. Now, my lord, 606. Constitutional morality will impact upon any law which deprives the LGBT individuals of their entitlement to a full and equal citizenship. It's again a reiteration of what I respectfully seek from this court. Nobody can deny, my lord, a full and equal citizenship will be sans marriage, will be sans a family, will be sans the respect of a marriage, and forever to be treated as those two people. After the constitution came into force, no law can be divorced from constitutional morality. Society cannot dictate the expression of social sexuality between consenting men. This is a private affair. Constitutional morality will supersede any culture or tradition. The interpretation of a right in matter of decriminalization is beyond their determination, so may be determined by the norms. So, my lord, will supersede any culture or tradition. Reference was made to culture or tradition by the other side yesterday. 608. LGBT living under the threat of conformity, grounded in culture, morality have been denied to a basic human existence. They have been stereotyped and prejudiced. Constitutional morality requires this court not to turn a blind eye to their right to an equal participation in citizenship and equal enjoyment of life. Constitutional morality requires that this court must act as a counter majoritarian institution which discharges the responsibility of protecting constitutional entrenched rights regardless of what the majority may believe. Constitutional morality must turn into a habit by citizens. I respectfully submit, my lord, it will become a habit only when it is so declared by an authority no less than the Supreme Court on account, my lord, of its moral authority. By respecting the dignity, this court is only fulfilling the foundational promises of our constitution, which is, my lord, way back in 1950. Today we are in 2023. My lord, 613. 613. Number 613 will apply equally to the next step, namely marriage. The choice of a partner, the desire for personal intimacy, and yearning to find love and fulfillment in human relationships have a universal appeal, straddling the age and time. In protecting consensual intimacies, the Constitution adopts a simple principle. The state has no business to intrude in these personal matters, nor can societal notions of a heteronormative regulate constitutional liberties based on sexual orientation. Actually, my lord, most of this applies not only to, my lord, decriminalization, applies to our position today. Maybe it had been argued then, maybe it would have been done then, because this is the basis. I am not invoking any new basis, my lord. The basis is already set. It's already the law of the land. But it stopped at decriminalization because that was the issue then. But, my lord, Nalsa, Puttu Swami, and this, and the basis and the groundwork cemented by this court is the groundwork for the declaration which I seek, my lord. I seek no more. I don't seek any extension. It is already here. Everything is here. C615, my lord. Second line. In addressing the LGBT rights, the Constitution speaks as well to the rest of society. In recognizing the rights of LGBT, the Constitution asserts itself as a text for governance about the dominance of sex, which promotes true equality, does so by questioning prevailing notions about the dominant of sexes and gender. In its transformational role, the Constitution directs our attention to resolve the polarities of sex and binary gender. In dealing with these issues, we confront much that polarize our society. Our ability to survive the free will depend whether constitutional values can prevail over the impulse of the time, that is, of the current times. My lord, 616. 158 years is too long a period for the LGBT to suffer the indignities of denial that has taken 68 years in after the advent of the Constitution is a sobering reminder of the unfinished task which lies ahead. It's also a time to invoke the transformative power of the Constitution. And we had the declarations in 618. See, my lord, 618 too. Now it applies equally here today. It doesn't apply or limited only to decriminalization, my lord. See 6182. Members of the community are entitled as all citizens to the full range of constitutional rights, including liberties. The choice of whom to partner, ability to find fulfillment in intimacy, right not to be subject to systemic behavior are intrinsic to constitutional protection. This applies equally to marriage. Not restricted, my lord, only to that no case will be filed against you. Point 4, my lord. Members are entitled to the benefit of equal citizenship. This is the broadest phrase. Without discrimination and to the equal protection. I respectfully submit, my lord, these principles apply with equal force today. After a passage of 5 years, these principles are the same even for what I want. Then only one thing, my lord, I wanted to show. Kindly, my lord, turn to 640. This is Justice Indu Malhotra. 640. Actually, my lord, it is similar. Your lordship may note, I don't want to read it. 640, 641. 640.2.4 may be seen, my lord. So, my lord, it's the same thing in paraphrasing in different words because of a different learned judge. 642.4. Sexual orientation is innate. It is an important attribute of one's personality and identity. Homosexuality and bisexuality are natural variants of homosexuality. LGBT have little or no choice over their orientation. This is very important. So it's not, my lord, an elitist concept that I have acquired something today. It is innate.